Namaste, dear children. Welcome to Diksha Online Bridge course. Subject is physics, and today's topic of discussion is vectors. Though vectors is a very important concept in mathematics, bulk of the physics phenomenon concepts have the directions. To represent those physical quantity with direction, it is essential to have the knowledge of vectors. So in today's class, let us understand some basic concepts related to vectors. We are going to cover in today's session what is the meaning of scalar and a vector, how to represent the vectors, how to add vectors, how to resolve the given vector, and the multiplication of vectors. Now the picture shown here represents some physical quantity. Let's say, for example, in the first figure, we are measuring the mass. In the second one, the kid is exerting the force on a truck and pulling the truck through some distance, doing some work and spending some energy. Let the energy spent be equal to some 12 joules. Then I have a clock measuring the time. Let the time be 7 hours or 7 hours 30 minutes, 12 hours 40 minutes. You look at all the three physical quantities here. To represent them, I need a number which tells the magnitude and a unit which tells the physical quantity. To represent these, I don't need the help of a direction. These physical quantities, which have only the magnitude but no direction, are called as scalar quantities. What are scalar quantities? They are the physical quantities which have only magnitude. To represent them, you need a number and a unit. It doesn't have any direction. Example, length, mass, speed of a vehicle, time, work done by the body, energy, temperature, etc. On the other hand, I have some pics here. In the first pic, a body is pulled down by gravity. The force acting on it is m into g. And you understand, this force is not acting to the right, not to the left, it is acting vertically downwards. But the body is not falling down because the string is experiencing a tension and it is applying a force in the opposite direction equal in magnitude. Now look at these two forces. One is acting down, the one is acting in the upward direction. So to specify this quantity, I need the direction. Same way, to open the door, as per the instruction on the door, either you push or pull. The force exerted is in one particular direction. Same way, when a body is moving, its velocity and acceleration, if the body accelerates like this, speed will increase. If it accelerates like this, speed will decrease. So there is a need for a direction to represent these quantities along with the magnitude. These physical quantities, which have both magnitude and the direction, are called as vector quantities. To represent them, we need a number, a unit, and a specific direction. Example, last class we studied about displacement, velocity, acceleration. Linear momentum is the product of mass and velocity. It is also a vector quantity. Force is also an example for vector. Now let us understand how to represent vectors. A vector has a magnitude. To represent that magnitude, we are going to use the line segment. The length of the segment will represent the magnitude. To this line segment, we are going to introduce an arrow mark. The arrow mark will tell the direction. In my case, the vector is starting at O, ending at A. It is directed along OA. To write it in the vector form, I either write OA. O represents the initial or the starting point. A represents the ending or the terminal point. To show it is a vector, I put an arrow mark on top of it. This is equal to, sometimes instead of writing initial and final, we assign a single alphabet A. So you can write it as A vector also. This is equal to 4 centimeter along OA. 4 centimeter represents the magnitude and the unit. Along OA represents the direction. Suppose I push a body in this direction with a force equal to 20 Newton. Then force is a vector quantity. To represent that, force vector is equal to 20 Newton along x-axis. This is how we represent the vector. In the force vector, this is the initial point, the arrowhead is the terminal point. Suppose the same vector, sometimes I don't want the direction, I want only the magnitude. In that case, I will write the vector OA between two vertical lines. These two vertical lines represent an operation called as modulus or magnitude. This is equal to 4 centimeter only. When I write like this, I will not represent the direction. Same way, for the force vector, when I write the magnitude or the modulus symbol, I will just write 20 Newton. I need not represent the direction. OA vector and F vector are written in only the magnitude, no need to represent the direction. Suppose your 20 Newton was like this, and next case, the force was in the opposite direction. This is taken positive, this is taken negative. Now, when you write the modulus symbol, you will not write the negative sign also, because for a vector, the negative sign indicates only the direction. Let's move on to the next topic called as unit vector. Any vector whose magnitude is equal to 1 is called as a unit vector. A unit vector is a vector whose magnitude is equal to 1 and it has a particular direction. Suppose I have a unit vector A. To represent that it is a unit vector, I will put a cap. The cap indicates it is a unit vector. Sometimes you also use n cap. It is also a unit vector. The speciality of this unit vector is its magnitude is equal to 1. The numerical value for this is 1. It does not represent any physical quantity, so it does not have any unit, but it has a particular direction. Unit vector magnitude is equal to 1. It doesn't have any unit. It has a particular direction. So you understand, when I take the modulus or the magnitude of this vector, it is just a number equal to 1. Now the other way of defining unit vector is, it is defined as a given vector divided by its own magnitude gives the unit vector in the direction. Suppose I have a vector OA. I want to define a unit vector along OA. So here my A vector is equal to 7 meter along OA. Now I want to define a unit vector along the direction of OA. Observe this vector. This vector has a magnitude equal to 1, but it is directed along OA. This vector is called as A cap. A cap is a unit vector along OA. According to the second definition, this can be written as the vector A divided by magnitude of vector A. This will be 7 meter along OA divided by, when I write the magnitude, it is only 7 meter. They both get cancelled. A cap is 1 unit along OA. So you observe A cap is a unit vector in the direction of OA. The speciality of this vector is when you multiply it with any physical quantity's magnitude, the magnitude of that doesn't change, but that quantity will get the direction. Now, along the x-axis, y-axis, and z-axis, a unit vector has already been defined. They are I cap, j cap, and k cap. I cap is the unit vector along the x-axis. The modulus of this is equal to 1 unit. Mod of j is equal to 1 unit. Mod of k is equal to 1 unit. These are the 3 unit vectors along x, y, and z axis. Let us suppose in the previous problem, I told force vector is equal to 20 Newton along x-axis. Instead of writing along x-axis, I can write it as F vector is equal to 20 I cap so many Newton. What I have done is I have multiplied 20 with I cap. When I multiply both of them, the magnitude of I is 1. 1 into 20 is 20. I cap says it is along the x-axis. Same way, when I throw the body up, the acceleration on it is nothing but 9.8 meter per second square. This is acting vertically downwards. Now, instead of writing vertically downwards, you see vertically down is in the negative y direction. Along positive y direction, j cap is the unit vector. So opposite to that direction will be minus j cap. So A vector can also be written as 9.8 minus j cap so many meter per second square. This is minus 9.8 j cap meter per second square. So what I want you all to understand is there are two ways of representing a vector. One in this form where you mention the direction. When in unit vectors are given, F vector can be written as a product of magnitude and the unit vector. For example, if I walk 7 meters along the north, 7 meter is the magnitude. Along north is the direction. Suppose along north I define I cap as the unit vector. I can write AB vector is equal to 7 I cap meters. When I jump vertically up with 2 meter per second, the velocity vector is 2 meter per second vertically up. Instead of that, vertically upward direction, that is y-axis, unit vector is j cap. You can write it as 2 j cap meter per second. Same way I discussed about acceleration due to gravity. A quick recap of what we have done so far. We have studied about the representation of vector. A vector is represented by a directed line segment, DLS, Duckworth-Lewis system. So this vector has an initial point, terminal point. The length of the vector gives the magnitude, the arrow mark gives the direction. Whenever you want only the magnitude but not the direction, you write the modulus symbol. We spoke about unit vector. A unit vector is a vector whose magnitude equal to 1. The unit vectors along x, y and z axis are I cap, j cap and k cap. So any vector can also be written as the product of the magnitude and a unit vector. The unit vector is going to give the direction for that. Some of the examples. Now we shall continue with vectors. Now we are going to speak about the algebra of vectors. Algebra means addition, subtraction and multiplication of vectors. When I add two vectors, let me take vector A and vector B. I want to add them. The effect produced by both A and B together can be produced by a single vector called as R vector. This is called as resultant vector. So what do you mean by a resultant vector? It is a single vector which produces the effect of both vectors together. For example, a football player kicks the ball from here to here. You get the displacement A vector. Then the second player will kick the football from here to here. You get the displacement B vector. Now, what effect is produced by both players together can be produced by a single kick from here to here. That single vector which produces the same effect as that of two or more vector is called as the resultant vector. The resultant vector also has magnitude and direction. It is represented by R vector is equal to A vector plus B vector. What I am trying to teach you all is, if A is 5 units, B is 4 units, the answer is not 5 plus 4 always. You need to also consider the direction when you add them. Therefore, how do we add the vectors? The vectors can be added in two methods. One is called as by the method of triangle law of addition of vectors. The second one is by parallelogram law of addition of vectors. So to add vectors by triangle law of addition, you observe here for the vector A, terminal point of A is the initial point of B. Then you use triangle law. Whereas in the second diagram, for the vector P and vector Q, the initial points are the same. I repeat once again, to use triangle law of addition of vector, you should have the terminal point of one vector to be the initial point of the other vector. Then the two vectors are said to be taken in order. On the other hand, if the initial points are same or if the terminal points are same, like in this case, if the terminal points are same, they are said to be in the reverse order. So when two vectors are taken in order, they are added using triangle law. When two vectors have the same initial point, they are added using the parallelogram law. So what does the triangle law state? It states that if two vectors are represented both in magnitude and direction, the two vectors are represented both in magnitude and direction by the two adjacent sides of a triangle, and the two vectors should be taken in order. Then the resultant vector is the third side of a triangle taken in the reverse order. I repeat once again, if two vectors are represented in magnitude and direction by two sides of a triangle, it should be taken in order. then the resultant or the vector sum is given by the third side of the triangle taken in the reverse order. Let us look at the diagram. You see vector A and B. They are forming the two sides of the triangle. They have been represented as the two sides of the triangle. Terminal point of A is the initial point of B. So they are taken in order. If two vectors A and B are represented both in magnitude and direction as two sides of a triangle, then the third side will give you the resultant vector when taken in the reverse order. You see here the terminal points are same. Next, in the parallelogram law, if two vectors acting at a point in the previous one, the two should be in order. Here they should be acting at the same point. Can be represented both in magnitude and direction by two adjacent sides of a parallelogram. Side 1, side 2, they are the adjacent sides of the parallelogram. Then the resultant is given by the diagonal passing through the common tail. You observe here, there will be two diagonals. We don't want this diagonal. We want a diagonal passing through the common tail. This diagonal will give you the resultant both in magnitude as well as in direction. R vector here is equal to P vector plus Q vector. I repeat once again, if two vectors acting at a point O are represented both in magnitude and direction by the two adjacent sides of a parallelogram, then the resultant is represented by the diagonal passing through the common tail. R vector is equal to P vector plus Q vector. Again, if P is 5, Q is 4, always R vector is not equal to 5 plus 4. While adding here, you need to take the direction also into account. Then how do we do the addition? Let me consider there are two vectors, vector A and vector B. Vector A is equal to, let's say, some 4 units. Vector B is equal to 3 units. The angle between A and B is equal to 60 degrees. Then how do I find the length of the resultant? The length of the resultant or the magnitude of the resultant is given by parallelogram law, and the answer is this much. There is a derivation for this. Now we will only look into the formula. So the resultant vector magnitude is equal to square root of 4 square plus 3 square plus 2 into 4 into cos 60 into 3. I forgot to write B vector. So this will be root of 8 plus 9 plus cos 60 is 1 by 2. 1 by 2 and 2 will get cancelled. 4 3s are 12. So this will be square root of 29 units. This is how you need to add the vectors. When you are adding two forces, two electric intensity, intensity of light, or any vector for that matter, you should not add the numerical values. You need to add them using this formula. This is how you find the resultant of two vectors. Now we will go to the next concept called as resolution of vectors. The process of splitting a vector into its components is known as resolution. This is nothing but the British rule. In the previous one, there were more than two vectors. You combine them to make a single vector called as resultant. Here, we are doing the British rule. There is one vector, we are trying to divide it into two or more vectors. This process of splitting a vector into two or more vector is called as resolution. The newly obtained vector are called as components. And if these component vectors are perpendicular to each other, then they are called as rectangular components. Let me consider there is a vector A. The vector A is at an angle of theta with the x-axis. Then the given vector A can be split into two vectors, namely AX vector and AY vector. When I split A, I am getting two new vectors called as AX and AY. These two are called as components of the vector A. So when I split adjacent to theta, I will be getting mod of A into cos theta. How you get it? There is a derivation. When you come to the regular PU class, you will be studying that. AY is equal to mod of A into sine theta. Remember that when you are splitting a vector A into two vectors, those two new vectors are called as components. The component which is adjacent to theta, the component which is adjacent to theta will have cos theta. The component which is opposite to theta will have sin theta. Now they are also vectors. What is the direction for them? Your AX vector is equal to mod of A into cos theta into I cap. I cap tells it is along x-axis. Similarly, AY vector is equal to mod of A sin theta into J cap. J cap tells it is along the y-axis. So I repeat once again, suppose I have a vector A. I can split it into two vectors. They are AX and AY. When I split a vector into two vectors, these two new vectors are called as components. These two components are perpendicular to each other. That is why they are called as rectangular components. Suppose the vector A is at an angle theta with the x-axis, then the component along x-axis will be mod A into cos theta into I cap. The component adjacent to theta will get cos theta. The component opposite to it will get sin theta. Sir, where is this used in physics? Let's take, for example, a 2D motion. A projectile, an object, is thrown with some velocity in this direction. As the body is moving along this parabolic path to reach the ground, I want to find what is the motion of the body along this straight line. So I need to know what is the velocity in this direction. So I will split V naught into V cos theta along x-axis, V sin theta along the y-axis. Same way, for a body falling freely under the gravity, the force acting on it is m into g. But if the body is sliding down, if the body is sliding down, m into g is acting downwards. But the body doesn't move like this. It is moving in this direction. So what is the weight in this direction or acceleration in that direction? To find that, if the inclination of the plane is theta, this angle also will be equal to theta. Then split mg into two vectors, one here, one here. Adjacent to theta, you will get cos theta. Opposite to that, you will get sin theta. This mg cos theta will provide the normal reaction. Mg sin theta will provide the acceleration to slide down. So we are splitting the mg vector into two rectangular components, mg cos theta and mg sin theta. This is about resolution of vector. Now let's move on to the multiplication of vectors. First, let us discuss about the multiplication of a vector quantity with a scalar quantity. When a scalar quantity is multiplied with a vector, the resultant answer is also a vector. For example, linear momentum. It is the product of mass and velocity. Mass is scalar, velocity is vector. This product is also a vector quantity. For example, I can also give force. Force is mass into acceleration. Force is a vector because acceleration is also a vector quantity. Here we are multiplying a scalar quantity with a vector quantity. This is called a scalar multiplication. Here one of them is a scalar, the other one is a vector. Now let us see how to multiply two vectors. Multiplication of two vectors. Two vectors can be multiplied in two ways. One is called a scalar product, the other one is called as the vector product. Why are they called so? In the first case, when you multiply two vectors, the resultant answer is a scalar quantity, hence you call it a scalar product. Whereas in the second case, the answer is a vector quantity, that is why you call it as a vector product. Let us consider two vectors A and B acting in the same direction. Again, I am repeating, I am taking two vectors A and B acting in the same direction. Their scalar product is represented like this. Vector A dot vector B. To represent the scalar product, I am using a dot symbol, hence it is also called as the dot product. It is given by the magnitude of A into magnitude of B. So I repeat, the scalar product or the dot product of two vectors which are in the same direction is nothing but the product of their magnitude, and it is a scalar quantity. For example, A is 10 Newton, B is 5 meters. They both are acting along the same direction. Then the dot product is 10 into 5, that is equal to 50 units. So what you need to understand, my dear children, is that scalar product is the product of the magnitude of two vectors which are acting in the same direction. Now let us consider vector product. Let us consider two vectors A and B. You observe they are perpendicular to each other. The product of the magnitude of two such vectors which are perpendicular to each other is called as vector product. To represent that product, I am using a cross symbol, hence it is also called as cross product. So when you multiply the magnitudes, you get the answer also to have only magnitude. In order to indicate the direction, I am using n cap. N cap is in a direction perpendicular to the plane of A and B. A cross B vector is in a plane perpendicular to the plane of A and B. So I repeat once again, scalar product or the dot product is the product of the magnitude of two vectors which are in the same direction. Cross product or the vector product is the product of the magnitude of two vectors which are perpendicular to each other. The answer in scalar product is a scalar quantity, but in the vector product, there is an n cap multiplied with that, so it should have a particular direction. And the direction is both perpendicular to A as well as to B in a plane perpendicular to it. Now the next question is, sir, what if the two vectors are not perpendicular or parallel to each other? So let us consider two vectors A and B inclined at an angle theta. Here again, A and B are two vectors inclined at an angle theta. How do we find the dot product? As I said, dot product or the scalar product is the product of the magnitude of two vectors in the same direction. So what I will do, I will try to split the vector B into two components. One of the component in the direction of A will be B cos theta. Adjacent to theta is cos theta. Now you observe A vector and B cos theta vector both are in the same direction. The product of their magnitude will give you the dot product. So scalar product can be defined as product of the magnitude of two vectors and the cosine of the angle between the two. What about the vector product? Again, now they both are not in the perpendicular direction. Vector product is the product of two vectors which are perpendicular to each other. I will split B vector into two components. One perpendicular to A will be mod of B sine theta. Now you observe vector A and B sine theta are perpendicular to each other. The product of their magnitude and the n vector, n cap vector will give you the cross product or the vector product. The vector product is defined as the product of the magnitude of two vectors into sine of the angle between the two. Which sine of the angle? There is one angle here, there is another angle here. You should always take the smaller angle. What is the example for this? Example for scalar product is work done. This is given by mod of F mod of S into cos theta. As I told you earlier, if the two vectors are in the same direction, theta is 0, cos 0 will be equal to 1. You are going to just multiply their products. On the other hand, if the two vectors are perpendicular to each other, theta will be 90, cos 90 will be equal to 0. Therefore, the dot product F dot S will be equal to 0. Now, torque is the amount of rotation caused by the force. It is given by R cross F. Whenever you open the gate, whenever you open the door, you exert a force and make it to rotate. When you want to unscrew or tighten a screw or a bolt, you are going to exert a force F at a distance of R meters. You observe these two are perpendicular to each other. Then the cross product of R and F will give you the torque acting on it. It will pull the screw out. So imagine I am going to place my four fingers, that is the forefinger or the index finger, middle finger, ring finger, and the little finger should come in this direction. Keep your right hand like that and clasp it. Clasp the fingers in the direction of force. Crawl it. Then your extended thumb will be in this direction. The thumb will give you the direction of the cross product. Now, how do we define scalar product? Scalar product is defined as the product of the magnitude of two vectors which are in the same direction. If they are not same in direction, the other way of defining it is equal to the product of the magnitudes of the two vectors and the cosine of the angle between the directions of the two vectors. What is the vector product? It is the product of the magnitude of two vectors which are perpendicular to each other and the direction is in a plane perpendicular to the two vectors. The other way, if the two vectors are not perpendicular, how do you define them? The the cross product or the vector product of two vectors is equal to the product of the magnitude of two vectors and the sine of the smaller angle between them. The direction is perpendicular to the plane containing the two vectors. Let's have a quick recap of scalar product and the vector product. Scalar product or the dot product is the product of the magnitude of two vectors which are in the same direction. Here A and B are in the same direction, so A dot B is equal to mod A into mod B. Cross product is the product of the magnitudes of two vectors which are perpendicular to each other. Along with that, you need to introduce a unit vector in the direction perpendicular to A and B. If the two vectors are not in the same direction, they are inclined to each other at theta degrees, then this is the general formula for dot product. This is the general formula for the cross product. Example for dot product is work done. Example for cross product is the torque. This is the definition of scalar product. It is the product of the magnitude of two vectors and the cosine of the angle between their directions. Cross product, it is the product of the magnitude of the two vectors and the sine of the smaller angle between them. The direction is perpendicular to the plane containing the two vectors. Let us understand few things related to the vector product and the scalar product. Your A dot B is equal to A mod of B into cos theta. This is the general formula. Same way, cross product A cross B is equal to mod of A mod of B into sine theta. Suppose the two vectors are in the same direction, theta equal to 0, then A dot B is equal to mod of A into mod of B. Whereas your cross product A cross B will be equal to null vector or 0 vector because sine 0 equal to 0. If the two vectors are perpendicular in their direction, then A dot B is equal to 0 because cos 90 is equal to 0. Whereas your cross product A cross B will be equal to mod of A mod of B into sine 90 is 1 into n cap. So at 90 degree, cross product will be maximum. At 0 degree, dot product will be maximum. So depending on the angle, you need to keep substituting for theta. So that's it for today. Hope you all learnt about the vectors. So in the tutorial session, we will solve some problems. Until then, Take care. Have a good day.